10 years of love, 10 years of promises only to be shattered on the day that was supposed to mark forever. Amanda stood in her wedding dress, frozen in disbelief as the man she had loved for a decade sent someone to deliver a single, humiliating message. If she's so desperate to get married, let her find someone else. That's what Ryan had said, heartless, cold, and cowardly. Surrounded by whispers, smirks, and judgmental stares from the wedding guests, Amanda felt her world collapse. Her fingers clenched the hem of her gown so tightly they burned. But then, just when everything seemed lost, Bruno, her childhood friend, stepped forward. Without a word, he erased Ryan's name from the ceremony, silenced the crowd with a calm presence, and took Amanda's hand as the groom. In front of everyone, he married her not out of impulse, but out of a quiet, enduring love he had harbored for years. Amanda had promised him then, if he ever fell for someone else, she would let him go without a fight. But that day never came. Instead, she found herself falling for him slowly, truly, and when their daughter Alice was born, their family felt whole. For years passed in peace. Until Ryan returned. Without warning. Without shame. He arrived with a glamorous woman on his arm, one hand confidently circling her waist, and the other pointing at Amanda's daughter. "She's mine," he said smugly. "But I'm going to marry Sandra, so stop using that child to force me into anything." Amanda couldn't even respond at first. The sheer absurdity of his words rendered her silent. Ryan crouched down to embrace Alice, tears welling in his eyes. "Amanda, did you really raise our daughter all by yourself these years?" But Alice shrank behind Amanda, hiding from the man she didn't know. Ryan's smile faltered. His eyes lingered on them until a soft cough broke his trance. "Sandra, delicate as ever, feigned frailty." Instantly, Ryan turned away from Amanda and rushed to Sandra's side, full of concern. "Sandra, are you all right?" he asked. She shook her head gently, smiling weakly like some tragic heroine. Ryan let out a breath of relief and then turned back to Amanda. "I know your feelings for me run deep. You even had a child for me. But I still stand by what I said 4 years ago. I am not ready to settle down. I'm still enjoying life." Amanda stared at him, stunned by how shameless he remained. He truly believed the child was his, that she still pined for him, and that he held the power to accept or reject her at will. "Ryan," she said, her voice steady, "you've misunderstood everything. Alice isn't your daughter. I'm not waiting for you. And I have no interest in marrying you." Ryan laughed, but it was a bitter, disbelieving sound. "Amanda, stop. I didn't come here for nonsense. I came to officially cancel our engagement." He tightened his hold on Sandra's waist and looked at her with eyes full of fake devotion. "Because I'm marrying Sandra now." Amanda let out a slow breath, exhausted by the theatrics. "You can marry whoever you want, Ryan. But let's be clear, our engagement ended 4 years ago. I'm married. Happily. And to someone who actually showed up." Ryan's eyes widened, then narrowed into suspicion. "Still playing that game? You're not a child anymore, Amanda. It's been 4 years. Grow up." His tone turned mocking. "Even if you lied about your marriage, it doesn't matter. The engagement is over. Sandra and I will be married. And as for the kid, since you've been raising her, you can keep her. Something to remember me by. But don't worry, I'll do my part as her father." His words hit like shrapnel, sharp and careless. Before Amanda could speak, Sandra pulled gently at his sleeve, her face innocent. "Ryan, don't leave the child with her. She's done enough, raising her all alone. It's cruel to burden her further. And I love children, let me raise her." Ryan's expression immediately softened. With affectionate concern, he asked, "Sandra, are you sure? That won't be too much for you?" Sandra, ever the fragile flower, shook her head gently and replied with a tender voice, "Not at all. She's your daughter too. Of course I'll raise her." Clearly moved, Ryan turned to Amanda with authority. "Then Sandra will take her. I'll compensate you financially." Amanda blinked, unsure if she'd just hallucinated the entire exchange. Who gave them the right to decide any of this? She opened her mouth, but Ryan's eyes turned cold. Don't be ungrateful, Amanda. You've been flaunting the title, Mrs. Ryan, all these years, haven't you? I bet you've gained quite a bit from it. Otherwise, how could you live so comfortably? He loosened his tie and gave her a contemptuous glance. Now that I've found the woman I truly love, that title and the luxury that comes with the Ryan name should go to Sandra. Amanda stared at him like he'd lost his mind. After 4 years, he was somehow even more arrogant. She laughed bitterly. Ryan, where do you get the nerve? Have you forgotten our engagement was arranged by your parents? And that my family is just as powerful as yours? Everything I have in me wealth, my name comes from my own parents. It has nothing to do with you. Her voice dropped a note. I'm married, and the child is not yours. Stop deluding yourself. The moment she finished, Sandra let out a dramatic little gasp. When Ryan turned to look at her, she wore an expression of wide-eyed innocence. I just thought of something, she said softly. If the child isn't yours, then whose is she? Amanda's head snapped up, catching the glint of provocation in Sandra's gaze. Ryan's face darkened. Suspicion overtook his features. How old is the child? He demanded, his voice icy. If she's not mine, then you must have cheated, right? Amanda said nothing. Ryan was practically shaking. Answer me. How old is she? Amanda's eyes narrowed as she braced for what was coming next. She just turned 3. Amanda's words cut through the thick tension like a blade. Before Ryan could react, Sandra jumped in, her voice soft yet pointed. 3 years old, and Ryan has been gone for 4. So clearly, the child isn't his. Ryan's face darkened instantly. The veins in his forehead bulged, and his entire body tensed as rage overtook him. Then whose is she? He roared, his eyes bloodshot. Whose bastard did you have while I was gone? Did you sleep with someone the moment I left? Smack. The crack of Amanda's hand across his face echoed through the room. Her palm stung, her chest heaved, and her fury trembled in every inch of her body. I told you she's not your daughter. And what right do you have to insult my child? She snapped, teeth clenched. Ryan looked at her in disbelief, stunned by her defiance. Amanda glared at him, her voice sharp and unwavering. How many times do I have to repeat myself? I'm married. I have a husband. Who the hell do you think you are to imagine I'd wait around for you? Ryan's expression twisted into something darker, his eyes narrowing as veins throbbed on the backs of his hands. You're serious? He growled. You really expect me to believe that? Amanda didn't flinch. Of course I'm serious. The day you left me at the altar, humiliated me in front of everyone, was the day I stopped loving you. You think I'd wait 4 years after that betrayal? For a moment, Ryan fell silent. A flicker of guilt passed through his eyes, as if he'd finally grasped the cruelty of what he had done. But before he could speak, Sandra stepped forward, her voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. You're being unfair. Ryan felt suffocated back then, because you pressured him too much. A woman who truly loves a man should be willing to give everything for him, don't you think? Amanda turned to her coldly. Shut up. I'm not like you, a shameless woman who knew she was the other woman and still got involved. Sandra's face paled immediately. Amanda shifted her glare back to Ryan. You made your choice when you left. And now you've brought her back with you. So own it. You're marrying her, aren't you? Then why do you care who the father of my child is? Do you want everything? You already have her. Ryan's face flushed, but Amanda didn't stop. Or maybe, deep down, even you think Sandra isn't worthy of being your wife. Maybe you're regretting breaking off our engagement. Ryan wiped the blood from his lip and exploded. What kind of nonsense is that? Sandra, who had been quietly seething, suddenly burst into tears. I know Miss Amanda just hates me. That's why she keeps telling lies. She wants to drive me away and win Ryan back. If that's the case, then I'll go. As long as you two can be together again, I'll disappear. As soon as those words left her mouth, Ryan's expression shifted like lightning. I knew it, he shouted triumphantly. You still love me. There's no way you actually married someone else and had a kid. This whole thing was just a setup to make Sandra leave, so I'd come back to you. Amanda felt her blood boil. How could they both be so delusional? She hadn't even known Ryan would return to the country. How on earth could she have orchestrated this? And more importantly, how dare he assume she would waste 4 years of her life waiting for him? Just as she reached for her phone to call Bruno, to bring clarity and end the circus, Ryan lunged. He grabbed Alice into his arms without warning. Amanda's phone hit the floor. Her breath caught in her throat as panic set in. "Give me back my daughter," she screamed. Alice, frightened by the sudden stranger holding her, began to cry loud, raw, heartbreaking sobs that tore Amanda apart. Alice was usually calm, barely ever cried, but now she wailed as if her soul was splintering. Ryan held her tighter and glared at Amanda, his voice low and dangerous. "I'll ask you one more time. Whose child is she?" Amanda fought to steady her breath, to speak with composure despite the storm inside. "You left me at the altar," she said through gritted teeth. "You ran off and didn't look back. Everyone mocked me. My parents were humiliated. I couldn't take it. In the end, Bruno stood by me. I married him. So yes, Alice is his daughter. She's our daughter." The second the words left her mouth, Ryan's entire face contorted. "I knew it," he spat, laughing bitterly. Amanda blinked.
What?
"You're lying. You've always been close with Bruno. Of course he'd help you fake all of this." "That kid isn't his," he snapped, eyes glinting with self-righteousness. Amanda fought to stay calm, especially with Alice still trembling in his arms. "I'm not lying," she said firmly. "Alice is mine and Bruno's. Alice, sweetheart, Mommy's here. Don't be afraid." Ryan's mocking grin slowly faded into a sneer. "You really won't stop until you've destroyed your own dignity, huh?
Fine.
I won't spare your face anymore. I'll expose your lies myself." Without waiting another second, he yanked Sandra with one hand and stormed out the door with Alice still in his other arm. Amanda's heart stopped. Her pupils shrank in terror. "Ryan, where are you taking Alice?" "Give her back to me," she screamed, running after them. But Ryan didn't hear, had already thrown them into the car and driven off at full speed. Amanda's breath hitched, her chest clenched in panic. She snatched her phone and jumped into her own car, following him without hesitation. As she drove, she called Bruno and Ryan's parents, her voice shaking as she explained the situation. Ryan was heading to the hospital. She begged them to meet her there. After hanging up, she pressed the gas pedal harder, following him closely. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Ryan pulled up to the hospital. Amanda arrived just in time to see him get out of the car with Sandra and Alice. He strode straight toward the hematology department, and once there, he turned back to Amanda with contempt in his eyes. "Are you ready to admit this was all a lie just to win me back?" he asked smugly. "Mommy Bew-Bew." Alice sobbed in his arms, her little hands reaching out for Amanda. Alice cried so hard she could barely breathe, and Amanda's heart felt like it was being torn apart. For a moment, she nearly broke down with her. But then, Ryan's voice snapped something inside her. Her last thread of self-control snapped clean. Her eyes were red with rage. "Alice is not your daughter." "What the hell are you doing?" she shouted. Ryan turned to her, the corners of his mouth curling into a mocking laugh before addressing the nurse beside him. "I'd like to do a paternity test," he said casually. Amanda felt her chest tighten. Her heart dropped. "No," she cried, stepping forward. "He's not the biological father. He has no relationship with me or my child. He has no right to request a test." For a moment, the room fell silent. Everyone, including the nurse, stared wide-eyed. Ryan's face darkened. "Amanda," he said coldly, "have you forgotten? You're still my wife." The murmurs started immediately. The whispers turned into a buzz of gossip, thick with judgment. What kind of twisted relationship is this? Wait, so the husband thinks she cheated and the kid isn't his? What a mess. Alice's sobs slowly faded, but Ryan's insults and the mocking stares of strangers tore Amanda's composure to pieces. She snapped. "You're the one who forgot," she yelled, her voice shaking. "Ryan, do you want me to say it again?" We were together for years, our wedding was planned, and on the very day of it you left. You ran away and left me humiliated at the altar. You didn't even have the guts to tell me in person. You sent someone to say, if she's that desperate to get married, let her find someone else. And now, you show up out of nowhere with another woman on your arm, declare that she's your future wife, and have the nerve to grab my daughter for a paternity test? Are you completely shameless? Ryan's face turned red, then pale, then red again. The crowd around them began to murmur louder. Some even started pointing fingers. So he's the psycho, huh? Bringing his mistress back and then trying to snatch someone else's kid? What the hell? Someone should call the police. Ryan clenched his jaw so hard Amanda thought his teeth would crack. But she didn't even look at him. All her focus was on Alice, still trembling like a leaf in his arms. His expression twisted further. So, he gritted, you're seriously saying she's yours and Bruno's? Amanda met his eyes without flinching. Yes, she is. Her voice was clear, unshaken. And Ryan saw the truth in her eyes. He staggered back 2 steps, mumbling to himself, no, it can't be. Amanda didn't waste the moment. She rushed forward and pulled Alice into her arms. The little girl was trembling uncontrollably, her arms wrapping tightly around Amanda's neck. Mama, mama, she cried, tears streaming down her face like pearls. Amanda's chest felt like it was being squeezed by a giant, invisible hand. Her eyes burned. It's okay, baby mommy's here. I'm sorry, sweetheart, she whispered, stroking her back gently. In that moment, Ryan finally believed. That warmth, that bond, it couldn't be faked. He stood there, voice shaky. How could you marry someone else? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. You were supposed to be mine. How could you marry someone else and have his child? His words drifted to Amanda's ears like a breeze soaked in poison. They repulsed her. She didn't even look at him. She heard him but chose not to respond. All her energy went into calming Alice. Just then, Bruno arrived with Ryan's parents. Without hesitation, he went straight to Amanda and wrapped both her and Alice in his arms. I'm sorry I'm late, he murmured. As soon as Amanda saw him, the dam inside her broke. The sorrow she had held back poured out in tears. Bruno gently kissed her forehead. Don't be afraid. I'm here now. That simple, sincere gesture lit a fire inside Ryan. Get your hands off her, he roared. Amanda is my wife. Who gave you the right to touch her? Bruno's expression darkened. He gently handed Alice back to Amanda, kissed the little girl's cheek, and whispered, Be good. I'll be right back. Then he rolled up his sleeves and punched Ryan straight in the face. The impact knocked Ryan flat on his back. The crowd gasped. Bruno didn't care. He rolled his shoulders and looked down at Ryan, his voice icy. Don't you ever come near Amanda or our daughter again. Then he turned to Ryan's parents. I suggest you keep your son under control. If not, I won't hesitate to do it myself. And about the North Project, I assume you wouldn't want me involved, right? He didn't raise his voice, but the implication was enough to make their faces drain of color. That project had been 3 years in the making. It was the family's golden ticket to rising in status. But Bruno's company was already top tier. If he stepped in, everything they'd built would collapse. Mister. Ryan forced a strained smile. You have our word, mister. Bruno. We'll handle it. Ryan, watching his father grovel, couldn't take it. He jumped up, blood still on his lips. To hell with that project. And to hell with your wife. Amanda is mine. She'll always be mine, smack. A sharp slap echoed. His mother stood there, hand still raised, body trembling with rage. Are you not done disgracing us? Amanda is married. What the hell are you doing, making a scene like this? Ryan stood stunned, clutching his swollen cheek, blood dripping from his nose and mouth. His once handsome face now looked pitiful, disfigured. He shook his head, whispering, No, Amanda loved me too much. She couldn't have married someone else. His mother let out a bitter laugh, eyes filled with exhaustion and disappointment. Wasn't it you who left her at the altar? I just wasn't ready. You always said Amanda would be your daughter-in-law. Why did you let her go? Why didn't you help me keep her? Ryan's desperate, shameless voice made his mother sway with rage. Her trembling finger pointed at him, but all she could stammer was, you, before she ran out of words. Amanda stepped forward then, calm but unshakable, slipping her arm into Bruno's and facing Ryan. Ryan, will you please stop embarrassing yourself? You caused all of this. What right do your parents have to ask me not to marry when you're the one who humiliated both our families? Her tone remained steady, her expression composed. What we had is over. If you didn't want to marry me, you could have just said it. I'm not the kind of woman who begs or grovels for love. She took a breath, her voice soft but firm. But you didn't. Instead, you chose the most humiliating way possible to show your dissatisfaction. You abandoned me in front of everyone. And now, she smiled faintly. What's done is done. And I've made peace with it. I love the family I have now. I'm happy. I truly hope you and Sandra can be happy too. She turned with Bruno and Alice, ready to leave, but Ryan's voice followed in a broken whisper. I never wanted not to marry you. I had just graduated, and everyone kept pushing us toward marriage. I felt like I couldn't breathe, so I left. But I never stopped wanting to marry you. Amanda paused. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, without looking back, she lifted her hand and said coolly, What you want doesn't matter to me anymore. I have a good life now. Just don't interfere with it again. And with that, she and Bruno walked away, not once turning around. Behind her, she heard Ryan cry out, Amanda, don't go. He scrambled to his feet and chased after her, but his parents held him back. His father, red-faced with shame, barked, Stop humiliating us. Go home. Later that night, Bruno put their sleeping daughter in the care of the nanny, then led Amanda gently to their bedroom. As soon as the door closed, he pulled her against it and kissed her. She stiffened at first, surprised, but quickly realized he was trembling not from desire, but from fear. When their kiss ended, she looked at him gently. What's wrong? Are you upset? Bruno dropped onto the bed, covering his face with both hands. His voice was hoarse. I was scared, he admitted. Amanda stayed quiet, watching the way his throat bobbed as he swallowed, his red-rimmed eyes meeting hers in the dim light. I was afraid you'd stop loving me, that you'd go back to Ryan. Her heart ached and fluttered at the same time. She wrapped her arms around him tightly. Bruno, how can you have so little confidence in yourself? She whispered. I love you. Only you. I don't feel anything for Ryan anymore. Just disgust. You don't need to worry. There's nothing between him, and met here never will be again. Only then did he begin to relax. She tried to pull away, but he held her even tighter. Let me hold you a little longer, he murmured. Amanda, I love you. The next morning, as Amanda stepped out the door, she spotted Ryan standing outside. His face was swollen and bandaged, the bruises and cuts from Bruno's punch still vivid. He looked utterly pathetic. Amanda, he said as soon as he saw her, eyes fixated on her neck. She followed his gaze. There were still faint marks left by Bruno from the night before. Embarrassed, she adjusted her collar. What are you doing here? She asked. Ryan's eyes were bloodshot. He swallowed hard. I still can't believe you don't love me anymore. Amanda gave a bitter smile. If I still loved you, do you think I'd be living with Bruno? Do you think I'd have had a child with him? But Ryan didn't seem to hear her. You're still angry, right? I know it was horrible to leave without a word. I made a mistake. But that woman Sandrash meant nothing. She was a replacement. Not even that. I just wanted to provoke you. I never wanted to hurt you. His voice cracked. If you divorce Bruno, I'll raise your daughter with you. Amanda sighed, rubbing her temples. Can you grow up, Ryan? I don't love you. Instead of harassing me, maybe try appreciating the woman standing beside you. But to her dismay, he completely misread her rejection. He thought she was jealous. Don't worry, he said quickly. I'll fix everything. I won't let you suffer or be jealous anymore. I'll make it right. Then he walked off with determination. Amanda could only laugh dryly. Just another delusion. But what truly shocked her came a few days later, the news that Sandra had stabbed Ryan. Apparently, after leaving Amanda's place, Ryan had decided to give Sandra money to disappear from his life. He told her he regretted everything and wanted to start over. But Sandra had never loved Ryan, she had only ever wanted to become his wife. She refused to leave, and they argued for days, even involving Ryan's parents. Eventually, Ryan snapped. He pushed her hard, so hard she fell down the stairs and lost the baby she was carrying. When she regained consciousness, Ryan showed no remorse. He threw more money at her and told her to leave. Broken, devastated, Sandra agreed. But while packing, she asked one last question. "Do you really not love me anymore?" Ryan, exhausted and irritated, yelled at her to stop bothering him. That was the final straw. Something snapped inside her. She picked up a knife and stabbed him repeatedly. She was about to strike again when the housemaid came back and called the police. That interruption saved Ryan's life. Sandra was arrested and is now in prison. Ryan, however, was left paralyzed, confined to a bed for the rest of his life. When Amanda heard the news, she felt nothing, as if someone had just commented on the weather. She forgot it almost immediately. But what she didn't expect was for Ryan's parents to come visit her. They looked like they had aged 20 years overnight. Their once carefully maintained hair was now completely white. Ryan's father looked years older, his face wrinkled and hollow with pain. "Amanda, we're truly sorry," he said, his voice trembling. "We promise, Mr. Bruno, we'd never trouble you again, but we don't know what else to do." Beside him, Ryan's mother wept uncontrollably. Not even makeup could hide the swelling and redness around her eyes. Through sobs, she whispered, "Ryan, he survived. Yes, but he'll never walk again." She clutched Amanda's hands tightly, her desperation raw. "His only wish is to see you one last time. Please, Amanda, even if he was a fool, he's still our only son." Amanda wanted to say no. She should have. But before she could utter a word, both of them dropped to their knees. The sight hit her like a stone lodged in her throat. These people had always treated her kindly. Seeing them like this, she couldn't bring herself to turn away. After a moment of silence, she sighed. "All right, but just this once." They nodded immediately, their voices hoarse with relief. "Thank you, we promise. It won't happen again." Amanda notified Bruno and accompanied them to the hospital. As soon as she stepped into Ryan's room, he lit up. Covered in bandages, face pale and weak, he still reached out for her hand with trembling hope. "Amanda," he whispered like a child reaching for a favorite toy, "Sandra is gone. She won't be in the way anymore. We can finally be together." Amanda gently pulled her hand away. "Sandra was never the problem between us," she said firmly. "You were." Her eyes didn't waver. "You're the one who ended things. You're the one who left me standing alone." Before she could finish, Ryan's voice cracked into a shout. "No. I never wanted to end it." His face flushed, breathing ragged. Amanda exhaled slowly, her voice turning cold. "But I don't love you anymore." The words landed like a thunderclap. The entire room went silent. Ryan froze. Seconds passed before tears began to soak through the bandages on his face. You don't love me anymore?" he choked. "Is it because I'm crippled now? Do I disgust you?" His hands pounded uselessly at his legs, which hung limp and lifeless like a puppet's limbs. The bed groaned beneath the weight of his fury. His mother cried harder, nearly collapsing from grief, but no one stepped in. Amanda simply stood there, calm, her voice even. "I know what you're thinking," she said. "You thought I'd wait for you. That I'd spend years pining, starving, unable to sleep, drowning in sorrow." She looked him in the eye. "But the truth is I am doing great. I found someone better. And I'm finally happy." "No, Amanda, please stop," Ryan begged, gasping. But she didn't stop. "You're not heartbroken because you loved me," she continued. "You're angry because someone else touched what you thought belonged to you. It's not love. It's pride. It's ownership. Stop talking. Ryan's scream came out hoarse and broken, but Amanda's voice remained steady. You never truly loved me, Ryan. You just couldn't stand the idea of losing me. Admit it. He shook his head, whispering, That's not true. Amanda gave a bitter smile. Ryan, why are you still the same? You don't need to answer. If you had loved me, you wouldn't have left me at the altar just to get some air. And if you had loved me, Sandra would have never existed. His face went pale. Amanda's tone turned final. This will be the last time I ever call you Ryan. I don't love you, not even a little. I came here today only to say goodbye to the boy I once knew at 18. I hope we never meet again. She turned toward the door, then paused. The 18-year-old Ryan would have hated who you are now. And so do I. With that, she walked away. Each step felt like shedding a layer of the past, each breath lighter than the one before. The shadows that had once clung to her heart now blew away like dead leaves in the wind. Outside, the soft honk of a car echoed. Bruno rolled down the window and smiled warmly. Ready to go home, wife? He asked. From the back seat, Alice's tiny face popped up. Mommy, let's go home. Amanda felt the breeze on her face, warm and full of promise. She couldn't help but laugh softly. Yes, let's go home. Just before stepping into the car, she looked back one last time. There, behind the hospital window, stood Ryan, his eyes red from crying, watching her with the emptiness of a man who had lost everything. Amanda held his gaze for a brief second, then turned away for good. She was 26 now, standing on the threshold of a new life. And this version of her, this woman, was finally going to be happy,